The Weed of the Week is sponsored by the Enlist Weed Control System from Dow AgroSciences, a new herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate.
You work to protect your farm's legacy and to keep it going. Introducing the Enlist Weed Control System, an advanced herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate for exceptional control of tough weeds. The next chapter begins.
Our Weed of the Week is Texas Panicum. It's mainly a problem in the southern United States. What do you know about Texas Panicum, Darren?
Well, it looks a lot like large crabgrass and broadleaf signal grass, so for me it's one of those weeds that I don't see all that often, but I can still identify it, and here's why. Large crabgrass just has a membranous ligule, and the ligule on Texas Panicum has a membrane, but it has a fringe of hair across the top, so that's an easy way to tell those two apart. Then when you're looking at broadleaf signal grass, the leaves aren't all hairy like Texas Panicum is on both sides of that leaf. So I think Texas Panicum is pretty easy to identify, Brian. It's just control that's difficult.
That's what I was just going to say, and in part because if you get to corn, the standard grass killers aren't going to cut it. Surpass, Harness, Outlook, and Dual, they're awesome on the foxtails, but they're just not going to do it for
They're not old
Panicum.
enough, Brian. We got to go back to the old days, like
right.
Eradicane. That did a little better job on it. If you're in a situation where you can double incorporate Eradicane, that would be the best. Or a lot of guys will just mix some Eradicane in with one of those killers like Harness, Surpass, or Dual.
Yep, actually Balance Flexx too is not that bad, and Roundup and Liberty seem to be okay yet on this weed.
And Accent's decent in conventional corn if you get it when it's small, and really if you're spraying for broadleaves, Callisto and Lotus have a little bit of impact on it as well. Now that same story is true in soybeans. If you're out spraying for broadleaves, Pursuit and Raptor aren't great on Texas Panicum, but they're actually not too bad, so that's kind of a good way to go on your broadleaves. But you have to start with Treflant, Sonland, or Prowl down. Then you could follow up with something like Select Max or Roundup or Liberty, of course.
Yep, in wheat, we would suggest using Prepare, Pre-Emerge, and then Post-Emerge. Something like Axial, Discover, Puma should do a fairly decent job.
Well, that's all the time we have for our Weed of the Week, Texas Panicum, but Iron Talk is coming up next.